Hi there, I'm Celeste Archer.
And I'm Kayla Gabehart.
We are the directors of two incredible K through 12 programs at the University of Colorado, Denver, National History Day in Colorado and Colorado Student Leaders Institute.
Our belief in both of our programs is that the best way to prepare students for success after graduation is to empower them with skills that allow them to create informed arguments, analyze sources, and draw meaningful conclusions.
Let's start in our discussion by telling you about National History Day in Colorado.
Nhdc is a social studies and literacy program for 6th through 12th graders. Students participate in a project-based learning curriculum that emphasizes critical reading and thinking, research, analysis, and the drawing of meaningful conclusions. Students can complete these projects in groups or as individuals in one of 5 categories: documentary, paper, exhibit, performance, or website, according to an annual theme. This year's theme is communication and history, the key to understanding. Students then compete in one of our 13 regions across the state in either the junior or senior division for middle school and high school students respectively, or in the elementary poster contest for 4th and 5th graders. Regional winners compete at the state contest in May on the University of Colorado Denver campus. First and second place state winners compete in nationals at the University of Maryland College Park in June.
By doing these things, we reach over 25,000 students annually, and we have tons of resources and opportunities for both teachers and students.
Let's explore some of these resources by visiting the Nhdc website at nationalhistorydayincolorado.org.
Our Nhdc Educator Handbook provides teachers with everything they need to implement the program in their classrooms. This includes step-by-step instructions, curriculum materials, and lesson ideas.
Our brand new Nhdc Student Workbook provides students with a resource where they can keep all of their Nhdc work in one place. It also includes activities to help students narrow their topics, keep track of sources and citations, and write drafts of thesis statements and other aspects of their project.
In addition, Nhdc is aligned with all of the Colorado academic standards in literacy and social studies.
It's also a sanctioned literacy capstone project, which will soon be a required component for graduation in lieu of a particular ACT or SAT score. Check out our capstone guide for all the applicable information.
We also offer a concurrent or dual enrollment class to the CU Succeeds program. Students who complete the course earn 3 hours of guaranteed transferable college credit. Educators must have 18 hours of graduate hours in history to teach the course, but students can take the course remotely with one of our educators across the state.
Want to start working on those graduate hours? Nhdc offers a 3-credit course for teachers where they can earn graduate or continuing education credits just by implementing Nhdc in their classroom and attending one of our teacher trainings. Get started today.
Speaking of teacher trainings, Nhdc offers workshops free of charge across the state. We provide everything you might need to get History Day rolling at your school. These are offered annually in the fall. Be sure to keep an eye on our website and communications.
Nhdc believes that students are our best advocates and guides in conveying the importance of History Day. Our Student Advisory Board is composed of students from across the state. If you know of a great Nhdc student, nominate them for the Student Advisory Board.
This year, that student board created an annual calendar that will make you laugh every month.
They're also spearheading an incredible speaker series, Talk to an Historian. Our February event focuses on Black history and addresses the question, why was Lincoln Hills a shelter from harsh times for Black Americans and Black Coloradans? This event features Judge Gary M. Jackson, Steve Shepard, and Terry Nelson, beacons of Denver's Black community. You can hear this talk tonight at 5:00 p.m. Just click the link on our website to join the Zoom conversation. If you can't make it tonight, check out our other talks the third Thursday of every month through June.
If you're interested in implementing Nhdc in your classroom, there are a few ways to learn more before the 2021-2022 school year.
First of all, make sure to explore our entire website. We have tons of resources.
And I have to throw in a talk that Kayla created an amazing website for all. Next, subscribe to our monthly newsletter to stay up to date on all of our events and opportunities.
And third, judge a contest. The majority of our regional contests are taking place virtually this year, and all are in need of judges. The state contest on May 1st will feature the best of the best projects from across the state and will take place in a hybrid format. The best way to see what Nhdc is all about is to be a judge. Don't worry, we will train you. Register on our website.
Now, let's turn to Colorado Student Leaders Institute, or COSLI for short.
COSLI is a state legislated program for the best and brightest high school students in the state. Each year, up to 100 students live and learn on the CU Denver campus during the month of July. They live in the dorms, take an interdisciplinary course, and earn 3 hours of college credit upon graduation from the program. Students choose one of two majors: International Social Studies, or STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and explore diverse topics through a lecture series by university professors, business leaders, nonprofit managers, local politicians and activists, and other experts. And they also do 3 hands-on projects: a Colorado Social Problem Lab, a short-term business lab, and National History Day. COSLI students do not have to be formally designated as gifted and talented students, but they must demonstrate through their application that they meet the academic rigors that this program requires. At least 50% of our students must be eligible for free and reduced lunch and or be first-generation college students. COSLI prepares students for college by fostering leadership, independence, innovativeness, initiative, critical thinking, and creativity. COSLI is an affiliate of the National Conference of Governors Schools, an institution steeped in a rich 50-plus year history and revered throughout the nation as a highly successful model for post-secondary preparedness.
COSLI is also aligned with our Colorado state standards. More than 80% of our students choose to stay in Colorado for college and or career, thus becomes a combator of the Colorado paradox. And more than 90% graduate with a 4-year degree in 4 years, instead of the 6-year nationwide average. They also frequently identify COSLI as the most influential experience of their high school career.
Our application opens October 1st of every year, and all application information is available on our website at costudentleaders.org. We accept up to 100 highly qualified students each summer.
You can check out a sample syllabus and a sample schedule on our website.
Each year, we choose topics and speakers based on student essays written in their applications, which include immigration, gentrification, the legalization of marijuana, race and gender discrimination, LGBTQ+ issues, environmental issues, equity in education, and many more.
We also prioritize experiential education and annually visit the High Ropes course at Browns Canyon Adventure Park in Buena Vista, the History Colorado Center, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, the Denver Art Museum, the American Museum of Western Art, the Nhcc Collection, the Denver Public Library, Wings Over the Rockies, Air and Space Museum, and so many more places.
While the summer program is amazing, the most valuable part of our program is the community that persists long after. We keep in touch with our students after the program and serve as advisors through their college career. We also have a student advisory board.
While you're waiting for the application to open next October, be sure to be thinking of amazing high school students to nominate. 9th and 10th graders have first dibs, 11th graders second dibs. Also, be sure to sign our student-created change.org petition to maintain COSLI's funding far into the future. We are eager to make it part of Colorado's permanent education landscape.
Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us. Enjoy your day at TLD. We love teaching with primary sources.
Thanks, everyone.
At the turn of the 20th century, America was just beginning to discover automobile travel. Carl Benz constructed the first automobile in 1885, and Henry Ford produced the first Model T in 1908.
With the advent of the assembly line, cars could be mass-produced at cheaper prices, but there were barriers to both long-distance and automobile travel. Not only were roads across the United States neglected or non-existent, but Americans had yet to buy into the idea that roads needed to be improved.
The first transcontinental highway broke these barriers, connecting America and changing attitudes about roadways.
Before the interstate highway system, before Route 66, and even before highways were numbered, one road captured the heart of America.
One road was revolutionary, leading to a new era of American transportation.
One road transformed America forever.
The Lincoln Highway.
The Lincoln Highway? It was America's main street, connecting towns and rural areas. If you want to see America, you can see a good chunk of it on the Lincoln Highway. Sounds like an interesting drive. I'll need a good road trip playlist. What song is this? Excuse me, do you know how to get to the Lincoln Highway?
The Lincoln Highway? It's 1909, miss. That Ford fellow may have made automobiles affordable, but traveling on nearly any road in this country is a surefire way to get stuck in the mud or to blow out a tire.
1909? I must really be lost. If you don't have good roads, how do you get across the country?
Across the country in a horseless carriage? This road here ends just past the Peterson farm. We don't get anybody from outside the county, and lack of roads is a barrier to anyone wanting to get to one of these.
Isn't there any way to improve the roads?
Well, sure, with taxes. But what's the point of these newfangled automobiles if we have to pay for roads to drive them on? And besides, all these peacock alleys are going to bring dust and noises and rude drivers that'll upset my chickens. You might try asking someone else for directions. Good luck.
Without improved roads, there was nowhere to travel with an automobile. In 1912, roads were sparse, and only 8% had improved surfaces. Someone is going to have to convince investors of the practicality of better roads in order to get them funded. Sir, do you know where to get to the Lincoln Highway?
Well, you're driving on it, or what will be the Lincoln Highway once it's finished.
Excuse me, sir...
It's Fisher, Carl G. Fisher, self-made businessman.
What year is it?
It's 1913, a year since I started the crusade for a transcontinental highway.
The Lincoln Highway was your idea?
Sure, I know a winner when I see one, and automobiles are the future. I finished my Indianapolis Motor Speedway 4 years ago, and I think it's high time we break the barrier that's been keeping automobiles from being enjoyed by the masses. Substandard and limited roads. I believe one magnificent highway of this kind will stimulate as nothing else could the building of enduring highways everywhere.
That is a great idea.
Auto industrialists thought the very same. When I pitched a coast-to-coast rock highway to them in September of 1912, Frank Sieberling of Goodyear Tires pledged $300,000 that very night. I later received donations from Thomas Edison, Theodore Roosevelt, and even President Woodrow Wilson. I'm nothing if not a good salesman.
I can see that. How did you come up with the name, the Lincoln Highway?
Well, Henry Joy, president of Packard Automobiles, had the idea to name it after Abraham Lincoln. The highway, like Lincoln, will unite the Union. Myself, along with some other important men in the automobile industry, established the Lincoln Highway Association with Henry Joy as president to promote and upkeep the Lincoln Highway. Advertising, advertising, advertising. That's how we'll convince Americans that roads are worth improving.
The highway seems to be the most direct route across the country.
With easy grades and scenic splendor, it crosses the grueling barriers of the Alleghenies, Great Plains, Rocky Mountains, Salt Flats, and Sierra Nevadas.
It starts in New York City and ends in San Francisco, connecting big cities and rural areas along the way.
My pitch was so successful that towns fought to be along the highway. The official dedication is October 31st, and celebrations will occur along the entire route. Now I must overcome the barrier of a lack of funding. I'm selling memberships to the Lincoln Highway Association for only $5. Well, mark my words, the Lincoln Highway will be a distinctive work to which Americans of future generations can point with pride.
The Lincoln Highway Association certainly was able to get Americans invested in improving roads and convinced state, county, and municipal governments to fund the Lincoln Highway.
Hey! Hello, sorry to be a bother. My car blew a tire a half-mile down the road. I'm trying to get to the nearest mechanic. Could you give me a lift?
Sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Are you also traveling across the country by the Lincoln Highway?
I am.
Oh, how wonderful. The motor mind has so grown and changed in a few years, hasn't it? Like 10 years ago, a long-distance trip like this wouldn't have been possible, and we didn't know what we were missing. Of course, this lovely highway didn't exist then either.
I was reading there was a 300 to 600% increase in transcontinental touring during the summer of 1915 alone. When did the American attitude towards roads change?
Well, it probably started with the seedling miles the Lincoln Highway Association laid upon its route. A mile of concrete road was blissful to drive on, but the road around it was awful. The contrast proved that paved roads were superior, and drivers were forced to support government-backed funding of the Lincoln Highway. Washington passed the Federal Aid Road Act of 1916, giving $75 million to state and local governments to fund roadways.
That momentum waned during World War I, didn't it? Even though the Lincoln Highway was used to transport military goods during the war. But the journey to the Motor Transport Corps convoy in 1919 re-established American enthusiasm.
Oh, just imagine our boys traveling on this very same highway in that convoy, battling mud traps and weak bridges. We were all forced to see the necessity of building and expanding roads nationwide.
And now roads across the country are improved?
Well, most roads still leave something to be desired. Even parts of this road aren't yet paved, but it might have been worse.
There might have been no way to get across the country by automobile.
Oh, right. And I'm sure with new efforts by local and state governments, roads across the country will be improved in no time. Even Washington recommitted to funding roads with the Federal Aid Road Act of 1921. Oh, here we are. Thank you so much for the ride. Why don't you take my guidebook? It has everything you need to know about the Lincoln Highway. Enjoy your road trip.
Nice car you got there. We've been getting lots more people around these parts ever since the Lincoln Highway was built.
I bet business is booming because of the Lincoln Highway.
Absolutely. It's a boost to any rural economy. Previously isolated farmers and ranchers are now more connected to the American market. And tourists have brought about many new businesses around these parts. Hotels, restaurants, and garages like this one are popping about all along the highway.
So the Lincoln Highway benefited rural communities and connected the country.
Sure. Well, I better go see to that gal's Packard.
The Lincoln Highway? Gee, that must be some old guide you've got there. I don't think it's officially been the Lincoln Highway since they started numbering roadways in 1925.
But you still know about the Lincoln Highway?
Well, as the government took control of the rapidly increasing number of highways across the U.S., they numbered the roads to simplify travel. The Lincoln Highway was split into sections of U.S. 1, U.S. 20, U.S. 30, U.S. 40, and U.S. 50. Ain't that a bite? Those don't quite have the same ring as the Lincoln Highway.
So the novelty of the Lincoln Highway faded.
But its legacy lives on. The Lincoln Highway broke barriers and set the precedent for all our modern roads. In fact, they say that President Eisenhower's experience in that 1919 motor convoy is what helped to inspire the 1956 Federal Aid Highway Act. And that act is what gave us our nifty new interstate highway system. Nowadays, most consumer goods travel on the interstate highway system at some point or another. Oh, I see someone else pulling in. I'll be right back to take your order.
The Lincoln Highway broke barriers, connecting America as the first transcontinental highway. By making Americans aware of the benefits of good roads, it directly led to the expansion and improvement of all of America's roads and highways. Now, there are over 164,000 miles of highways in the U.S., and $181 billion was spent on roads in 2017 alone. The Lincoln Highway opened the floodgates for a new era of transportation, the age of the automobile. And today, over 90% of personal travel is done by car. I guess we have the Lincoln Highway to thank for the great American road trip.
Thank you.